Hello, everyone. This is Live Life Well TV host Robert Landau. I'm back with another episode of a weekly program here on Live Life Well TV. It has anything and everything to do with trivia. It is called Did You Know? For the last number of episodes, as you might know, we have been concentrating on a Hollywood major motion picture blockbuster per episode of this show. And this episode of Did You Know is certainly no different. We're going to take a look at the all-time favorite classic, Mary Poppins. Get your umbrella ready. Stay tuned. We have two websites to acknowledge before we begin. The first one is ohmydisney.com and the second one is mentalfloss.com. So, did you know that it took about 20 years for Mary Poppins to get made? Have you seen Mary Poppins? I saw it when it first came out in a movie theater in New York City. It was magical, absolutely magical, as of course it still is today. Did you know that Walt Disney went after the rights to make Mary Poppins way back in 1938, which was 4 years after P.L. Travers released the first book, Mary Poppins. Despite the author turning him down, Walt was determined, and when Walt Disney wanted something, most of the time, Walt Disney got the something that he wanted. He sent his brother Roy to ask the author again in 1944, but the answer was still no. It wasn't until 1959, when Walt went to see her in person, that she finally, after all those years, said yes. The film was finally released on August 27th, 1964. Did you know that Walt had a personal connection to the movie Mary Poppins? He already admired the story. That much was clear because he kept going to get the rights for it and wouldn't take no for an answer. But did you know that it was his daughter Diane who convinced Walt to actually make the movie? She loved the Mary Poppins books growing up and thought there was something there for Walt to create. So even Walt Disney's children were geniuses. Did you know that Dick Van Dyke didn't happen to have much experience with singing and dancing before playing the more than memorable part of Bert the Chimney Sweeper? In fact, he never had any dance training prior to the film and was a bit nervous about doing it for the movie. The good news is he caught on quickly and has been dancing and singing ever since, and very well, actually. Yeah, I mean, think of Dick Van Dyke's dancing in Mary Poppins. You would think that he had been dancing and studied dance for many a year. Did you know that Walt Disney often called the Sherman brothers, who wrote the songs, who wrote the music for the movie, he called them on the phone and asked them to play one of the songs from the movie quite often? It's my favorite song in the movie, and it never ceases to touch my heart, to have a tear form in my eyes. Do you remember the song Feed the Birds? It's just a wonderful, wonderful ballad that Julie Andrews sings in the movie. And you see a lady who looks as if she lives on the streets, breaking her last loaf of bread to feed birds in a square somewhere in London at night. And that's what you see when you hear the song Feed the Birds. Well, that song was one of Walt Disney's favorites of all time. Of all the songs in his many, many movies, Feed the Birds was his favorite. And according to Richard Sherman, Walt used to call him up on Fridays to play the song for him live on the phone. And when he finished playing the song, Walt would thank him and tell him it was just what he needed to hear. I understand that sentiment very well. Did you know that filmmakers knew Julie Andrews was absolutely perfect for the part of Mary Poppins after seeing her on the Ed Sullivan Show? After seeing her perform What Do the Simple Folks Do from the Broadway musical Camelot that she was starring in, Walt Disney went backstage one night and offered her the role of Mary Poppins. Andrew's husband at the time, Tony Walton, also happened to be backstage when Walt made that visit. When he mentioned that he designed the sets and costumes for Camelot on Broadway, Walt told him to bring his portfolio, which eventually led him to landing the job as the film's costume designer. That's pretty cool. Mary Poppins went on to win no less than 5 Academy Awards. Of its 13 Academy Award nominations, the film won an Oscar for the following: Best Actress in a Leading Role, well-deserved by Julie Andrews; Best Film Editing; Best Effects, Special Effects; Best Original Song for Chim Chimaree; and Best Original Score. Did you know that most, if not all, of the special effects in Mary Poppins were way ahead of their time? In addition to cutting-edge puppeteering and audio animatronics, like the bird, if you remember, on Mary Poppins' finger in the spoonful of sugar sequence, there were a ton of advanced special effects that made the movie even more magical. The I Love to Laugh sequence, do you remember that song? Such a great song. Featured wires to make the characters look like they were floating. I remember that scene. You know what? I've got to see this movie again. I haven't seen it in years, and I forgot about that song, I Love to Laugh. It'll make you laugh. Anytime you're feeling down, go see if you can find the clip on YouTube. I bet you can. I Love to Laugh from the movie Mary Poppins. To ensure the audience didn't catch on to the wires, filmmakers had to vary shots between close-ups and long shots, and would also rotate the room. I really have to see that clip again. Did you know that Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke weren't the only options for the leading roles in the film? Angela Lansbury and, get this, Bette Davis were also considered for the role of Mary Poppins. Okay, Angela Lansbury, I could definitely see. It's kind of right up her alley if you think about it, but Bette Davis as Mary Poppins? I mean, look, there wasn't a thing that Bette Davis couldn't do. She was a brilliant, brilliant actress, but I think she would have brought a kind of darker energy to the role of Mary Poppins. Just a thought. Get this, Cary Grant was Walt's favorite for the Dick Van Dyke role of Bert. Cary Grant. I could see him do the role, but I don't think he would have danced as well as Dick Van Dyke. Just a thought. Did you know that Julie Andrews almost passed on the movie? Because she had originated the role on Broadway, Andrews was hoping to be cast as Eliza Doolittle in the film version of My Fair Lady. So she didn't accept Disney's offer right away. Warner Brothers ultimately decided that Audrey Hepburn was there, Eliza for My Fair Lady, as you probably well know. Andrews and Hepburn ended up vying for a Golden Globe Award for their respective roles that year, My Fair Lady, Mary Poppins. When Andrews won, she took the opportunity to cheekily thank Jack Warner during her acceptance speech. I didn't think Julie Andrews would do something like that. Would you? A Spoonful of Sugar, that wonderful song that Julie Andrews does sing in the movie Mary Poppins, was actually inspired by the polio vaccine. So get this, to help woo Andrews to the part, Walt Disney had the Sherman Brothers write a special tune for her. The duo penned a lovely song called The Eyes of Love, and Andrews hated it. The rewrite, the directive for the rewrite was something catchier, proved to be a struggle for composer Robert Sherman until he went home to see his kids. They had received their polio vaccine just that day and informed him that it hadn't hurt at all. The medicine was simply placed on a sugar cube and they ate it like candy, like a spoonful of sugar. So there you go. Did you learn something new that you might not have known about the masterpiece that is the Disney classic Mary Poppins? I sure did. So now I hope you feel moved to see Mary Poppins once again. And if there's anybody out there that has not seen this wonderful, wonderful movie, do make plans to see it. I can promise you that you will be in for a real treat. This has been Robert Landau, Live Life Well TV host. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Did You Know?